Welcome to the world of science fiction stories, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe my channel. Enjoy the listening. A mysterious warship emerges. Humanity's last hope. The ocean was calm when it arrived. A ship that shouldn't exist. A warship unlike any seen before, with armor that gleamed like obsidian under the sun and weapons that defied all logic. The world's military scrambled to understand where it had come from until it opened fire, not against them, against the alien invaders. For the past 3 months, Earth had been under siege. The Zithar Dominion had arrived in a fleet of black angular warships, burning cities and crushing armies with effortless brutality. Their technology was centuries ahead of anything humanity had, their weapons capable of reducing entire battalions to dust in seconds. No government had been able to stand against them. The world had fractured under the weight of an enemy that saw humans as nothing more than pests to be exterminated. But then the warship appeared. It came from the depths of the Pacific, rising from the water like an ancient god. It bore no flag, no insignia. It sent no messages. It simply attacked. The first engagement took place near the ruins of San Diego. The Zir dreadnought hovered over the charred remains of the city, preparing for another bombing run. Then, without warning, a volley of glowing blue projectiles ripped through the sky, shattering the dreadnought's shields as if they were made of glass. The warship emerged from the mist, silent and deadly, unleashing a storm of firepower that tore through the alien hull with impossible precision. Within minutes, the dreadnought was falling, crashing into the ocean in a burning wreck. The world watched in awe. Who commanded this ship? Where had it come from? The battle wasn't over. More Zir ships swarmed toward the lone warship, eager to destroy the unexpected threat. But the ship didn't flee. It fought back, and it won. Missiles that bent around shields, rail guns that fired slugs at speeds no one had ever seen before, a hull that regenerated damage before the enemy could land a second blow. The warship moved like a ghost, anticipating every attack before it was made. It was as if it knew the Zir, as if it had fought them before. Humanity, once doomed, now had a glimmer of hope. Whoever or whatever commanded the warship had chosen a side, and it was fighting for them. The world was in chaos, but for the first time in months, there was something other than fear. There was hope. News of the mysterious warship spread like wildfire. Governments, broken and scattered, scrambled to regain control. Survivors in hiding whispered of salvation. The resistance fighters who had been fighting a losing war against the Zir felt their resolve harden. If this ship was on humanity's side, then maybe, just maybe, they had a chance. But no one knew why it was fighting for them. In a hidden underground bunker beneath what remained of Washington, D.C., General Elias Warren sat with his remaining advisors, staring at a live satellite feed of the Pacific Ocean. The warship had disappeared beneath the waves after the battle in San Diego, vanishing without a trace. It was unlike any known vessel, its technology beyond anything even the most classified Black Ops projects had ever developed. "This ship, it's not one of ours," said Colonel Vasquez, shaking his head. "No nation on Earth has anything remotely close to this level of tech." "It fights for us," said Dr. Claire Tennyson, a scientist who had been studying the Zir technology since the invasion began. "But we have no idea who is commanding it." "Who cares?" Vasquez growled. "It's the first real weapon we have against those bastards. We need to make contact." General Warren sighed, rubbing his temples. "And how exactly do you propose we do that, Colonel?" "We've sent transmissions on every frequency. We've used military codes, open channels. Hell, we even tried Morse code. No response." The room fell silent. Then one of the analysts, a young officer named Lieutenant Parker, hesitantly raised a hand. "Sir, we did find something strange." Warren gestured for him to continue. Parker tapped on his tablet, pulling up a grainy infrared scan taken from one of the few operational satellites still in orbit. It showed the warship during its last battle. "We ran an analysis on the energy signatures coming from the ship. The results were inconsistent." "Inconsistent how?" Claire asked, leaning forward. Parker hesitated before saying, "The energy readings match Zyre technology, but they also match something else." A deep unease settled over the room. "Something else," Warren repeated, his voice grim. Parker swallowed hard. "Yes, sir. The energy signatures have traces of human origin." The silence stretched long and heavy. Vasquez was the first to break it. "That's impossible." "Maybe not," Claire whispered. She adjusted her glasses, her mind racing. "We assumed the Zyre were the first extraterrestrial race we encountered, but what if we were wrong? What if someone else, someone more advanced, has been watching us? What if they've been preparing for this war?" Warren's jaw tightened. "And they're using human technology." Claire nodded slowly. "Or they're using humans." No one spoke. The idea was terrifying, but it made sense. The warship fought like it had experience with the Zyre. It used weapons that blended alien and human technology seamlessly. If it wasn't one of theirs, then what was it? And more importantly, who was inside it? Far across the ocean, deep beneath the waves, the warship rested in absolute silence. Inside, a figure stood before a glowing console, watching encrypted transmissions scroll across the screen. A message played on loop, desperate voices pleading for contact. The figure did not respond. Not yet. They simply stared at the image of Earth, their fingers tightening into a fist. It was not yet time to reveal the truth, but soon. The warship rose again 3 days later. It emerged from the Pacific near the remnants of Los Angeles, its obsidian hull gleaming beneath the rising sun. People hiding in the ruins watched in stunned silence as it hovered just above the water, completely still, as if waiting for something. Then, without warning, it moved, not to attack, not to flee, but to respond. A single transmission cut through every remaining radio frequency on Earth, overriding military channels, civilian broadcasts, even the Zyre encrypted communication. The voice that spoke was calm, deep, and unmistakably human. "This is the warship Noctis. We are here to fight. Do not interfere." It was the first confirmation the world had that someone or something was commanding the warship, and it raised more questions than answers. The resistance wasted no time. General Warren, along with Dr. Claire Tennyson and Colonel Vasquez, immediately ordered all remaining satellites to track Noctis. Fighter squadrons still capable of flying were scrambled, not to attack, but to make contact. Major Eric Grayson, one of the last ace pilots left in the shattered remains of the U.S. Air Force, led the mission. His squadron of 4 F-35s raced toward the coast, the jet's engines roaring as they locked onto Noctis' position. "This is Major Grayson, call sign Reaper. We are approaching the unidentified warship, requesting permission to establish contact." No response. "Noctis, this is Reaper Squadron. We are human. Repeat, we are human. We need to know who you are." Still nothing. The squadron slowed as they approached the warship. Up close, it was even more terrifying. No seams, no windows, no visible weapons. Yet they knew it was armed. The thing radiated an eerie presence, something unnatural, as if it didn't belong in this world. Then, as they flew in closer, Noctis moved. A split second later, every warning system in the jets blared. "It's locking onto us," one of the pilots shouted. Grayson's grip tightened on the throttle. His instinct screamed at him to bank left, to run, to evade, but he forced himself to stay steady. No sudden movements. Hold formation. The pilots obeyed despite their fear. Then the voice returned. "You are too close." Grayson exhaled. At least they weren't dead yet. He flipped his comms to direct transmission. "Noctis, we're not here to fight you. We just need to know, who are you? Are you human?" A long silence followed. Then finally, "We were." The response sent a chill down Grayson's spine. He exchanged nervous glances with his squadmates, but before he could push further, Noctis vanished. One moment it was there. The next it had propelled itself away at impossible speed, leaving only a massive wave in its wake. Grayson and his squadron had no choice but to return to base, bringing with them the only clue humanity had received so far. Whoever was inside that ship, whatever they had become, had once been human. And now they were something more, something that could be the key to saving Earth or dooming it. The revelation shook the world. We were. Those two words haunted everyone who heard them. The warship Noctis was not just some alien savior, nor was it an advanced AI fighting on humanity's behalf. It was, or had been, human. But what did that mean? Had someone survived the initial invasion and somehow built this impossible machine? Had a lost crew been changed by something beyond human comprehension? Or was this an experiment gone horribly wrong, now returning to reclaim its place among its own kind? General Warren wasn't taking any chances. Inside the underground bunker, tension crackled through the command center. Maps, satellite images, and tactical data were spread across multiple screens, all dedicated to tracking Noctis. Warren stared at the satellite footage of its last sighting. "We need answers," he said. "Where is it now?" "Gone dark again," Lieutenant Parker reported. "No activity, no signals. It's like it vanished." "Damn it," Vasquez muttered. "We should have pushed harder, pressured them for more information." Claire Tennyson shook her head. "That could have been a mistake. Whoever they are, they're cautious. We need to earn their trust." Warren exhaled. "How do you suggest we do that?" Claire hesitated, then pulled up a file on her tablet. "There's something I haven't told you yet. Our tech team analyzed Noctis' transmission signal, and there was an anomaly." "What kind of anomaly?" Warren asked. "The voice," Claire said. "It wasn't just one voice. It was layered. There were multiple voices speaking at the same time, all overlapping." A cold chill ran through the room. Vasquez frowned. "So what? We're dealing with a crew?" "No." Claire swallowed. "We're dealing with something else. A collective." Warren's grip on the table tightened. "Explain." "The way the voices merged wasn't natural. It wasn't a radio distortion or an ad-generated synthesis. It was like—" She trailed off before finally saying, "like multiple minds speaking in perfect unison." No one spoke. Then a new alarm blared across the command center. A red warning flashed on the main screen. "Incoming transmission. Source: Noctis." Everyone turned to face the screen as a voice, cold, layered, and unmistakably human, filled the room. "The Zir are coming. They have tracked us. Prepare for war." And just like that, the signal cut out. Silence fell over the room. Then outside, the ground trembled. A new fleet had arrived. The Zir, realizing they had underestimated humanity's mysterious defender, were bringing their full force to Earth. The sky darkened as their warships descended, massive and endless. But for the first time, humanity was not alone. Far over the horizon, a shadow moved across the ocean. Noctis was returning, and this time it wasn't waiting. It was leading the charge. The sky burned. The Zir fleet descended in full force, their massive warships blotting out the sun. Cities trembled under their shadows, their weapons glowed with malevolent energy, ready to finish what they started, to wipe humanity from existence. But this time, humanity was not defenseless. Noctis rose from the Pacific like an avenging specter, its sleek black hull slicing through the water before it took to the air. It moved like no other vessel, defying gravity, physics, and expectation. It was alone, outnumbered, but it did not hesitate. And then, without warning, it attacked. The first strike was blinding. Beams of light lanced out from Noctis, tearing through the lead Zir warship. The alien shields flickered for a moment, then shattered as if they were made of glass. A second later, the entire ship exploded, raining molten debris across the sky. The remaining Zir vessels hesitated. Humanity watched in awe. Noctis had killed a Zir dreadnought in a single shot. For months, Earth's greatest weapons had been useless against the enemy's superior technology. Tanks, Fighter jets, missiles, nothing had even scratched the Zyre armor. But Noctis, in one effortless movement, had destroyed one of their greatest warships. The tide had turned. And yet, the battle had only just begun. More Zyre ships surged forward, breaking formation, swarming toward Noctis like a pack of wolves descending on a lone hunter. They fired relentlessly, beams of red plasma streaking toward their mysterious enemy. Noctis did not run. It danced. The warship twisted through the air, evading attacks with movements that defied comprehension. It dodged fire that should have been impossible to avoid, countering with brutal precision. A barrage of kinetic projectiles punched through another Zyre destroyer, causing it to spiral downward in flames. On the ground, soldiers and civilians alike stood frozen, watching the impossible unfold. Noctis was winning. In the underground bunker, General Warren and his team scrambled to keep up. "Are you seeing this?" Vasquez shouted, gripping the edge of the table. "We all are," Claire whispered, unable to take her eyes off the battle feed. Parker, his voice shaking, pointed at the screen. "Look, there's something else." The satellite feed zoomed in on Noctis. For the first time, they could see it in full detail. Along its sleek black hull, something shifted. Patterns of glowing blue circuitry flickered across the surface, pulsing like veins. It was alive, changing, reacting to the battle as though it were more than just a ship. And then it spoke again. "Stand ready. We cannot hold them alone." Warren's breath caught in his throat. "They're asking for help. They trust us," Claire said, eyes wide. "Even if we don't understand them, they're fighting for us." Vasquez slammed a fist on the table. "Then what the hell are we waiting for? Mobilize every damned soldier we've got left." Across the planet, what remained of humanity's forces roared to life. Fighter squadrons launched from makeshift runways. Missile silos, long thought useless against the Zyre, prepped for fire. Resistance fighters armed themselves, ready to take back their cities. For the first time in months, humanity was no longer running. They were fighting back. As the first wave of human forces joined the battle, Noctis surged forward, leading the charge. The Zyre had come to exterminate humanity. Instead, they had found something else, something they feared. And before the battle was over, they would learn why. The battle spread across the sky like wildfire. Humanity, once broken and scattered, now fought with a fury the Zyre had never seen before. Fighter jets wove between alien warships, unloading everything they had. Makeshift anti-air turrets, scavenged from whatever remained of Earth's military, opened fire from the ground. Rockets, bullets, and railgun slugs lit up the battlefield. But at the heart of it all was Noctis. It moved with terrifying precision, as if it could see the future. Every Zyre attack missed by a hair's breadth. Every counterstrike hit with deadly accuracy. It did not fight like a machine, nor like a human pilot. It fought like something beyond both, and the Zyre knew it. For the first time, the invaders hesitated. Their battle formations wavered. They had believed this to be an extermination, a final purge. Now, they were losing. But the Zyre had not conquered half the galaxy by running from a fight. Their command ship, a monstrous vessel nearly a mile long, descended from the clouds. Its jagged obsidian hull pulsed with crimson energy, its weapons charging with enough firepower to level an entire continent. And it was aiming directly at Noctis. Alarms blared through the underground command center. "General, we have a problem." Lieutenant Parker's voice was frantic. "Zithar flagship is charging something big. Bigger than anything we've seen before." "Target?" Warren asked, though he already knew the answer. "Noctis," Parker confirmed. "They're trying to take it out in one shot." Claire Tennyson gripped the edge of the table. "Can it survive that?" No one had an answer. Vasquez clenched his jaw. "If they take out Noctis, we're screwed." Warren thought fast. "Get every long-range missile we have left and target that flagship. If we can disrupt the—" "No use, sir," Parker interrupted. "It's shielded. Our weapons won't scratch it." A silence fell over the room. The Zir were making their move, and this time, they weren't playing games. The Zir flagship unleashed its attack. A single blinding crimson beam lanced through the sky, aimed straight at Noctis. It cut through the air with impossible speed, disintegrating everything in its path. For the first time, Noctis did not dodge. It did not fire back. Instead, it stopped moving, and then something happened that no one could explain. Noctis opened. Panels along its obsidian hull shifted, revealing an intricate network of glowing blue energy. Symbols, like ancient runes, flickered across its surface, and just as the Zithor's weapon was about to hit, Noctis absorbed the blast. The crimson energy struck its hull, but instead of exploding, it vanished, swallowed whole. The ship trembled for a brief moment as its circuits flared even brighter. Then it released the energy back. A pulse of blue light erupted from Noctis, racing across the battlefield. It struck the Zir flagship first, and within seconds, its shields collapsed. The monstrous warship, the heart of the invasion, began to break apart. The energy spread to the rest of the fleet. Zir ships flickered, their systems failing. Some lost control and spiraled into the ocean. Others simply vanished, disintegrating into nothing. On the ground, humanity watched as the impossible unfolded. The Zir fleet, which had once been invincible, was dying, and Noctis stood at the center of it all, glowing like a god of war. Then, for the first time, the Zir ran. The surviving warships turned and fled, retreating into the void of space. The once mighty invaders who had terrorized Earth for months were now desperate to escape, and Noctis let them go. The war was over. Across the planet, humanity erupted into celebration. People emerged from bunkers, from hiding places, from the ruins of fallen cities. They looked to the sky and saw, for the first time in months, victory. But the war had come at a cost. Millions were dead. The world was broken, the damage beyond comprehension. And Noctis, it hovered in silence, watching. In the command center, no one spoke. They simply stared at the live feed of Noctis, still floating above the ocean. Finally, Warren exhaled. "We need answers." As if in response, a new transmission flickered across the screen. "Humanity is safe for now." Claire leaned forward. "Who are you?" There was a pause, then the voice returned. "We were once human, but we are something more now. We were taken, changed. We fought to return. Now we fight for you." The weight of those words settled over everyone. Warren's throat tightened. "And what happens now?" Another silence. Then, "Now we wait, because they will return. And next time, we may not be enough." And with that, Noctis descended beneath the waves, vanishing into the abyss once more. The war was won, but the battle for humanity's survival had only just begun. The ocean swallowed Noctis whole, leaving behind nothing but silence. The war was over, but its scars remained. Cities lay in ruins, entire countries were unrecognizable, and the skies were filled with the wreckage of both human and alien ships. For the first time in months, Earth had a moment of peace, but it did not last. General Elias Warren stood at the edge of what had once been the Pacific coastline, staring out at the waves. The sun was setting, casting a golden glow over the water, but all he could think about was the warship that lay beneath it. Noctis. It had saved them, changed the course of the war in a single battle, and then vanished as if it had never existed.